my iguana, like you have a small one here, and not as small as a big one, but in the picture looks so small, was much more close to a dinosaur. Then, to me, I was too far. But the moment that I put my macro lens, that I photographed this detail of this iguana, I immediately saw that iguana was my cousin, that we came from the same cell, that the evolution bring me to be a human being and bring iguana to be iguana. But in a moment, we were all the same. It was possible to me to be the iguana to be me. The evolution allowed me to come in this direction, the one and the other. But from the, we see that we are the same base. We are all cousins. Photography is a language, a strong language. With music, it's the only language that don't need translation. What you write in photography, you can read in Japan, in China, with no translation. Still, it's a language. First culture, you understand it completely. It's a very recent language. It's 120 years, 150 years. And probably not to stay for long more, because these tools that you are using to photograph is the same tools that you are using to film enough. Is the same tools that you use in computer to change all that things with the Photoshop, and it's become another story. Photography was a kind of cross-section of a reality that you are in front of it. In this fraction of a second, we are capable to freeze something that was a movement that was happening, and that will become real, a kind of mirror of the society that we be. But to be a photographer, it's necessary to be a photographer. It's not everyone that is a photographer, that has this instinct of the photography. You must have the instinct of the image. The image happens in front of you just in a fraction of a second, real fraction. Pictures that are here together, all together don't make a half second. That's the point with photography. You must be awake, linked to the phenomena that you are then. You must, when you do this fraction of second intervention, you must have a nice composition. You must have, you must deal with the light. You must have the history that you are photographing, representing this photography, is coming together your own history, your concept of ethic, your concept of society, your concept of solidarity, your concept of aesthetics. Everything is there. You must condensate this in this fraction of a second. That means it's a formal language, because we work in a format, in a space, we deal with it. That means it's a statical language. And each photographer has its own. And that's the point. When you go to do the intervention, like it's my case, that I work with human beings all over the planet, doing base all my life long, I have my way to photograph that I bring from inside Brazil, from my state of Minas Gerais, that is the most baroque state that we can imagine in the planet. And with these lights that I bring from when I was a kid, this light stay inside myself. The first picture that I took of portrait of my wife sitting in the window, I shoot her against the light. Because all my life, I grow against the light. Because this light from where I come from in Brazil. And this instinctively came inside my photography, and I made that kind of style. As a writer, as Garcia Marquez always write in his own style. Once I discussed with Garcia Marquez, I said, Sebastian, I always write the same book, just different versions of the same. And for me, I always made the same picture, just in the different points of the planet where I made it there. It's the slides. It's the slides that I had when I was a child. This composition, I don't know why they are inside myself. And I made my intervention with that. But as I came from the third world, came from Brazil, most of my pictures of the beginning, what of stories that really interest me, was the stories of my side of the world. It's the people that I grow with them. That is my people, from where I come from. That my pictures tell the story of them. With my language, with my way to photograph. I am not a postmodernist and a baroque. From where I come from, my society was this. When I grew in my country, we had no roads. In the farm of my father, to carry the cattle for the slaughterhouse, it took us 45 days in horse to reach that. About 25 days to come back. See, and was another life. Now about the red. And this came inside me. And my photographies have all these things inside. And that is the point with photography. Your choices is one point. Your cross-section inside the choice is another that you do in your way and only your way. Black and white became a choice. In the beginning, I tried everything. I believe that I'm a storyteller. I like to tell the stories. I like to live my story. And when I started photographing the color, with the slides it was impossible because you mount your film, you have your set of the slides in a lighted table, you identify the good picture, you took them out, that is the good one, the others you put beside, you completely break your sequence. You had no more sequence. You had just a choice of few pictures. And in black and white was different. A contact sheet from the first to the last was supposed to me to leave my history. Now, in this table that was just there, I'm editing my gold mine pictures in Brazil that I took in 1986. It's close to 30 years ago. And when I go there inside, I live again my story as the moment that I was photographing. I remember what's the diaphragm that I use, what the speed, my relation with the guys, the smell that I had. You go inside, really. And with course, I had not that opportunity. You see, looking from now is very easy to create theories, but looking from inside a life that happens like this is you build a life with many different moments, with many different accidents, with many different participations, choices, chances, and all together made up volume. And looking from here, you say, wow, this guy worked like this guy that had this mind. That's not the truth. It's a way of life that brings you. Photography is much more than be a photojournalist, than be a photographer that came from economy. Photography is a way of life. It's my life. we take a decision to organize a project in order to go to see what was the pristine on this planet. And I had one exact idea where I would be going, but I had no idea what I would bring from there, because I really didn't know how to work. I never had photographed one wild animal, and my wish was to photograph them, and it was necessary to learn. And I remember the first story that I did was Galapagos, and I spent 3 months in Galapagos photographing these animals, these landscapes of Galapagos, but mostly animal. And it was necessary to me to learn. I want to be close to them, to respect their territory. I had the authorization of them to photograph, because my wish was to be very close. And to be very close, you might guess the way to be very close. Well, the shooting itself don't take me about 8 years. The preparation and the after, the presentation, yes, take about 12 years. But I put 2 years to prepare the shooting. And I spent 8 years photographing the shoots, the ground, with animals, with landscape, with people. And you see, I store like this. I went because I made a choice to go. In reality, at every store that I did, I made a choice to go. But this one is special. Jazz was very dangerous, in a sense that was going to a field that I didn't. To walk in a glacier, for example, if you are not tight to your guide, to another person, if you go to one of these break inside the glass, you are killed. And to climb this mountain, to deal with the different animals, you must have someone to teach you. I had a guide up high mountain with me, a real professional guide that became my friend, that became my assistant. We tried together. All this, but basically all my life I walk alone. But not real alone. Because never I went to do a history that I just came there, came to the village, or came to a refugee camp, or came to anywhere, knocked the door, said, "Can I come in?" I never did like this. I always walk by institution that had worked with these people to have an introduction. I always had an introduction. I never came to photograph on the first day. I came to be discussing, to be presented by someone, be introduced, spend a long time doing my stories. I have real stories. I have more than 500,000 work prints here of the stories that I photograph, where I will photograph them. I spend months photographing them, living with people and preparing my story. And it's this side also that never we speak in photography, is the pleasure to be there. This is a variable very important inside the photography. You just are not capable to go there, to be smart enough to go, three, 4 pictures are the best in the world to come out. It's not this. You must live it. You must smell it. You must know people. You must respect people. People must respect you. You must know them, their kids. They must hear about your children. And becoming a community that you are part of it. We must take in consideration inside the result that the photographer has in his photography. I had a big problem to come to digital, because always my life I work with negatives. In digital, for me, I was the first guy to fight against the digital. Till the moment that it became very complicated for me to work with negatives, with the number of X-rays in the airport. Boy, it was the hell. And each time that I cross a X-ray, that affect a little bit the film, not a lot, but when you cross a lot of X-rays, your film lose the grace. You look the structure of the grain of the film become nothing inside. And more started to become complicated. The film started to be not more good because the amount of silver inside the film is much less than they were before. In reality, I was working in a base of a product that had no more investment on it. The contrary, the investment was being taken out from this product and being put inside another that was the digital. And it was necessary for me to split, to change, jump from one choice to the other. And I started to work in digital. And Canon, I had a contact, someone presented me to the professional department of Canon. And Canon lended me 2 US-1 Mark III to try. I tried the cameras. I bring my medium format cameras. I was with medium 645 Pentax. I went to the Channel Coast French side for 1 week. 2 tripods. One tripod, one camera, and tripod in other. I made exactly the same picture, using about the same lens because the rapport is not exactly the same, but was photographing about the same. We developed, we made the tests. We take the digital and we compare the thing. The quality was amazing quality. I say, well, I can go. The problem for me was the grain. All my life long, I had worked with one film. It's the Tri-X. Sometimes I worked the T-Max 3200 when I had no light, but this was not a good film. Too grainy, too gray, very complicated film. But always is the only one that I had to work in this sensibility. But let's say 99% I did in Tri-X. And it was necessary to me to have my grain back because digital was too flat for me. With my team here and with a small company in France, we walk away to get my grain and introduce inside the digital archive and get exactly the same texture. This guy is working for me the grain of Tri-X 200 SA, 400 SA, 800, 1200 in order to have exactly the same texture that I always of my life. That was solution for the problem. And the problem for me was to have my negatives because I like my prints in silver. And the quality of a silver print is very different till now with the quality of an inkjet. The silver paper gives you something that the other don't give. And it was necessary to us to work a negative. We put about 2 years to arrive in the quality of negative that was necessary. But when we arrived, we're having a so good quality that today, my negatives that come from a digital archive are much better than the medium format negatives when I shoot direct with a negative. Canon has these new cameras. I just made a test now with the 5D SR. It's amazing to have this quality in a 35mm cameras. I tell you, the quality that I have now from this camera is about the same quality that the photographers had 30 years ago, photographed with an 18 centimeters by 24 centimeters negative. It's fabulous. When I started Genesis, it was necessary to me to carry a bag with 600 rolls of 220 and white film. That was about 30 kilos. And to carry with me inside the plane, because if I put this bag down and the X-ray comes with, my films were killed. It was necessary to take in my hands this, put in the plane. And it was complicated to fight against the companies to allow me to put this film inside. It was too heavy to put up, to get a place inside the plane to store this for me during the trip. And I have my cameras, the heavy cameras, medium format. I had a big box that we set down the camera. We get a way to transport it there. But today, I have the correspondent of 600 rolls of film in a 600 grams of digital cards. And the cameras now is light enough that I can carry with me inside the plane. And my life is 10 times more easy for a quality that is much better than I had before. That means we are in a total evolution of the cameras. The cameras that I will photograph is the 1DX, US 1DX, because it's a solid camera. It's a camera that I participate a little bit in the evolution of this camera with Canon. I remember when the camera was in evolution, the people of Canon gave me these cameras. I made all my comments in the camera for the evolution of the camera. And I love very much the camera. The DX is a fabulous tool, and it's a very fast camera. The quality of the pixels are very good, that allow you to work against the light and give you a lot of details against the light that I did add before with the generation before. And but there is a limit. Is not a very powerful in number of pixels. Is 18 million pixels. And when you do a big enlargement, and I do sometimes big one, you see the depth of the camera. And now, with the 5D, it's amazing. It's very good, but the 5D has a problem. It's not a tropicalized camera. I cannot go inside the Amazonas forest with this Canon. When you are working with 100% of humidity, working under the rain, 5-6 days of rain, the material suffers a lot. And in this mode, it started to be a problem. And with the DX, no. The DX is a camera that can be done non-stop. I did a lot of work with the DX. It's a very recent camera, but I did a lot of trips in Amazon. Last year, I did a climb in a mountain in Amazon with 3 DX, with non-stop rain, very difficult conditions of work, huge amount of humidity. In the end, very cold because we climb a lot, and not problem at all with the cameras. The cameras are real and amazing. Well done, well constructed. And I have a big hope that we can have an evolution of these cameras, Canon more pixel on it. And but in between, I work with the 5D where it's possible. I did adjust the new textures with this 5D on S, and it is real amazing, the quality with a 50 million pixel is another different. The quality that we can have today from this new camera, the 5D RS 50 million pixel, is amazing. You see, this picture is an oval size, and here we enlarged just the center of the image, and that corresponds exactly when I made 1.5 meter by 2 meter long. This image at 2 meter long. And when you go inside and we see the quality that we can have here, is about the quality of the big negative cameras that was one, I don't know inches, but was 18 centimeters by 24 centimeters. You see, before the calculation of lenses was handmade, it was not possible to calculate all the variables that compose all the curves of the movement of a lens. And today with these computers, this mega computer, the quality of this zoom lens is not too different. I'm saying is not different from a fixed lens. I work a lot with the 25 1.4, the 35 millimeters, the 50 millimeters 1.2, and the macro 100 millimeters. I work a lot in generals with this lens, and amazing good. But today, with there are 2 new zooms that I'm working. That is the 2470, the new 2470. Because you see, sometimes I do a lot of pictures in movements. When we have a group of people inside the forest, they are moving. You cannot go beyond 125 speed. And with people in movement, you have a stabilizer that adds so much. In this case, I must come to use the 24-105. That's a good lens, but it's not as good as this 24-7. And I'm using now one 70-300, a new generation of lens. that has amazing power. It's not a too big lens. It's much smaller than a 300. It's smaller than the 70-200, and it is very, very good lens. And I have these lenses that are very practical, that I use them a lot, but always I carry with me my fixed leg. When I have opportunity, for example, to walk inside, to do portraits, where I can really concentrate, I come to the fixed lens. It's the 24, the 35, the 50, and the macro. I came to photograph these guys, and they are very smart. With these big eyes, they see 180 degrees with what we don't see. Yeah. And I came inside the bush, tried to approach them. They saw me, and they slowly went inside the water. I take a decision to come to them in crocodile. I put myself on the ground, and I came. What's it? Made really? Yes, like a snake. Yeah. My camera in the hand. They came out of the water. They smile. So can you say this is strange? Crocodile come to them. They were one over the other. Wow. To be photographed.
That's interesting.
They came close. They were so curious. And you see, in the end, they tell us a big lie all life long, that you are the only rational, and that's not true. Each one is deeply rational. The evolution made them as rational. Each one is rational inside his own space. And if you understand this rationality and you put your rationality in pair with that, you can live together. You can do your job, you can work, you can